Hi, this is hellorodney. Thanks for clicking on my video. I saw a New Warrior Man's video about a poetry channel, so I thought, well, I'm not much of a poet, but I will read one of my poems. Not to say that read one of my poems means that I have a stack of poems somewhere, but a poem that I remember that I wrote. And it's interesting about poetry that I'm going to, it was, one thing about art, because I'm a painter, that if you have to talk a lot about the painting, then the painting becomes an illustration to the text, in a way. And if you have to talk about, to set up the poem, then maybe the poem, well, I guess the poem is more the punchline or the blast of words that is representative of the situation in which I was in, or that the situation that I thought about. It's interesting, as I'm talking about this, I'm really realizing that words have to be chosen properly in order to get the message out. And that's the thing about poetry, is that even though a good poem seems like it just flows, it could take a long time to construct that poem in order for it to have the power that it has. So there's a lot of thought process going into writing a poem. Although the poem that I'm going to recite now is something that just came out, and I wrote it in a drawing book I had, and there was no, it just came out, and so I'll read that too. But I want to talk to you about what came up, why I wrote this poem. And a lot of my subscribers know that I like to goof off, and so that's part of my personality. And it was late at night. I was living in this city, and there was a little place that was open. I don't know if it was open all night or just open really late, where you could go and get a cup of coffee for like a nickel if you had your own cup. I think it was a nickel. Pretty cheap. Maybe it was more, I can't remember. Many years ago. So I went in there to get a cup of coffee and do some drawing. And the young woman that was at the cash register had this hickey on her neck. And it wasn't your ordinary hickey. It almost looked like she was hit in the side of the neck with a baseball. It was huge. And so I said to her, as I was paying for my coffee, "Oh, I see you had a little trouble putting the cat out last night." And glanced at her hickey. And it embarrassed her a little, which was the point. And we both smiled, and I went down and wrote this poem. Then he sucked her neck till her blood turned to black and blue, a cheap tattoo that screamed to all, the property of you-know-who. It's hellorodney. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.